Hello and welcome to the special broadcast on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. We're in G20 week and I know a lot of you are wondering what's the big fuss about the national capital, about how Delhi is changed. I'm here at the IGI airport, as you can see. I'm going to be taking the route that our G20 world leaders are taking to show you how much things have changed. If you've ever been to Delhi, get set, because you're not going to recognize half of the roads that I'm about to show you. Obviously, it'll be a lot less crowded for our world leaders, but I'll do the best I can to show you what their experience is going to be like going through Delhi. Let's go. So making my way out of the IGI airport, what I see first is a lot more lighting. I came out in the night on purpose because I was told Delhi is a lot more beautiful because it's all lit up now. You can see that there are a whole lot of posters everywhere saying welcome G20 delegates. So you've got a lot of the G20 theme being thrown in your face at every single point from the get-go, from the IGI airport. But let's go further down. If you get out of the airport, you're going to reach Dolakwa. What's the location like there? How are things really decked up? How have things changed? Let's take a look. Few minutes, we'll be there. The theme of our G20, the motto, is, as you see written here, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And it's very fitting, really, because we're celebrating India's culture, celebrating India's traditions. The government has put a firm focus on all of that, as you'll see in posters and banners all around you if you've been to the national capital at this time. So let's take a look at how culture and tradition is currently being highlighted. This right here is a man-made marvel. It's not at a natural waterfall that I'm standing. I was actually taking the turn to come out of the airport when I spotted this lovely fountain or waterfall, whatever you want to call it, has been built on both sides of the road. So you've got one here, you've got another one on the opposite side of the road as well. Beautiful, beautiful welcome for our G20 guests, for all of these world leaders, who I have no doubt will be wowed by this kind of a setup. Imagine this, all lit up as it is right now, and we're being told that more lights are going to be put up here. It's so beautiful, and this is one of the many welcomes, one of the many fountains that you'll see along the IGI airport stretch. But by far, this one takes the cake for me. Delegates will be landing at the IGI airport. Many dignitaries will be landing at the Palam airport, which is where you've got the Prime Minister, the President, all of them come and go from. For security reasons, obviously, that area will look completely different. But all of your world leaders will be traveling through this very stretch. And you can see that this junction has been completely transformed. It's been in the works for many, many months now. Some people would argue it created quite a bit of inconvenience, but look at the end product. It's absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful. From these mammoth lion statues that you see in every single corner of this junction, to also huge fountains that adorn this entire area. This part that leads out of the IGI airport and directly into the city has been completely decked up and spruced up. Don't forget that again here too, I see a lot of G20 advertising. There are billboards which are constantly displaying promos and advertisements for the G20. So as we continue to move further into the city, what does it look like? I've shown you what the IGI airport stretch looks like, all decked up. Let's go into the city and find out what the situation is there. So I'm standing now at the crucial Dolakwa junction, which looks completely different from how it usually does. This entire area, as you can see here behind me, has massive fountains all lit up completely. This is just one stretch that I'm managing to cover. But even on the other side, you've got massive such walls that are completely filled with fountains, with messages welcoming delegates as part of G20. In fact, this entire road right now, you will see a lot of such posters celebrating India's diversity, highlighting some of our biggest tourist destinations and some of our most popular tourist states, along with these kind of beautiful fountains that have been put out. I'm going to be traveling further to show you how, in fact, in the heart of Delhi, there are several very interesting, beautiful murals that have been put up. From Dola Khan, we made our way here to Sardar Patel Marg. What's crucial here? And why do you see so much decoration around me? Right opposite ITC Moria. That's where US President Joe Biden is going to be staying. You see a lovely G20 setup here, along with several pictures that have been put up saying India paving the way, we're healing the world through yoga and whatnot. Beautiful messages. Entire area lit up completely. And you see the lighting on ITC Moria on top also. You can see the tricolor there reflected onto the building top. You see it there on the left of the building. Beautiful setup here. This entire stretch is where all of the hotels are. So along Sardar Patel Marg, there's a lot of security, but the area's been spruced up with these kind of posters being put up, decked up completely. All of the hotels back to back is where our world leaders will be staying. I just showed you one where the US president is going to be put up. India's culture, India's tradition, India's beauty, all being displayed on the streets of the national capital. As I'm heading closer and closer to the Bharat Mandapam, which is where the actual G20 Summit will be held, here's what people, delegates who are traveling through the streets of Delhi will see. These kind of murals have been put up in several underbridges on the walls. You see this depiction here of the Mahabharata. On my left, different dance forms from across the country, from Bharatanatyam to Kathakali to Kuchipudi. I see so many others as well, all depicted here. And what's wonderful to see, which I keep highlighting, is that they've taken the beauty of every single state and highlighted it as part of G20. Let me show you something. And we'll go around here because I don't want you to miss out on the other aspect also of what has been covered in this particular portion. On this side of the underbridge, where you see some traffic also going through, there's a depiction of the Ramayana. There's Lord Ram, Lord Hanuman, Lakshman and Goddess Sita, all of whom are projected right here in this particular mural that's been put up here. I'm not sure if I can see it clearly, but yes, you can see all of them present here. Goddess Sita is not there, but yes, this is the Ramayana portrayal that's been shown in this particular spot. Beautiful, beautiful murals that adorn every part of Delhi. But these particular areas where, you know, a story of India's culture, a story of India's tradition is all being shown. I don't know whether I should say India or Bharat, but yes, this is what in fact is seen on the way to Pragati Maidan. I'm very close to Bharat Mandapam, but look at these beautiful murals. So for security reasons, we're not allowed any closer to the Bharat Mandapam. We've taken special permission so we can at least stand across the road and shoot this beautiful sight. Besides the lighting, I want to bring your focus into what we've zoomed into there. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the world's tallest Nataraja statue right now on display. Beautifully lit up, 28 feet tall. That's the statue that's right in front of Bharat Mandapam and will greet every world leader as he or she walks in to be a part of the G20 Summit. It was just installed in fact, just about a day or two ago. And now we're getting you the first glimpse of what it looks like seated there in the heart of Bharat Mandapam, along with all of the flags that you see of the G20 nations participating and that beautiful, beautiful lighting that I can't take my eyes away from. Sometimes it lights up in the tricolor, sometimes in full white light, but those spotlights essentially grab all of your attention. I'm absolutely thrilled since I've come here in the night, and because of security reasons, we're not able to go right across and shoot from there. But this view is a great view. I'm not complaining. And we just go to the site of the Nataraja statue as well. And we've reached our destination. This, ladies and gentlemen, on my right is the beautiful, stunning Bharat Mandapam. As you see there, written in big bold, lit up so beautifully. It's stunning and truly a sight to behold. This entire Pragati Maidan stretch has been decked up like never before. I can tell you that from my journey from the airport all the way here, which is exactly where our world leaders, when they touch down for the G20 Summit, will be traveling, I can tell you that this by far is my favorite stretch because it's entirely lit up the Bharat Mandapam is visible from kilometers away because of the massive spotlights that they're using here. And then you've got these G20 logos all through this entire stretch. It's no wonder that so many people like me are also stopping here, taking selfies, clicking pictures at the Bharat Mandapam, because this truly is an icon right now for India, a national icon that we will remember far beyond the G20 Summit as well. This is where all of the action is going to be. And of course, on the G20 day, we're going to be right here getting you all the updates of what's happening behind as the summit takes place on Saturday and Sunday. We're all set for the G20 show in Delhi, but let's get you some of the features that you need to know about what it's taken to spruce up Delhi in this matter. Now, it's been 1,000 crore rupees that's been spent overall in revamping the national capital and making it as beautiful as it is right now. Security is a big concern. 1.3 lakh police officials will be deployed, and not just police actually, but security officials across the board who will be deployed across Delhi. Now, delegates from across the world, besides world leaders, will be coming. So 3,500 rooms in Delhi and in Gurugram have been booked for these delegates. Remember that the main event is going to happen just some kilometers away from me in Pragati Maidan. And there, the Bharat Mandapam has been revamped, built at a cost of 2,000 crores to accommodate the main G20 summit. The best hotels in the country, not just in the national capital, have been picked for ensuring that the world leaders have a place to stay that's absolutely world-class in Delhi during the G20 summit. I'm standing here at the Sardar Patel Marg outside the ITC Moria. It's here that US President Joe Biden is going to be residing. So this entire stretch, there's high security, but we get you a sneak peek inside, not just outside, where you see also a lot of reflective lights put up on the ITC Moria building. And this is the situation in most of the hotels where you've got some of these VVIPs and the world leaders staying. Now, let's show you what's happening inside. The kind of preparations that are happening in these hotels, what kind of food will be offered, what are the suites looking like right now for these presidents and prime ministers who will descend here in the national capital.
Over 30 hotels, more than 3,500 rooms. New Delhi gets ready to host the world's most powerful leaders. More than 10,000 hospitality professionals are engaged to serve delegates who arrive to attend the G20 Summit. Luxury hotels, including ITC Moria, Taj Palace, Le Méridien, Shangri-La, are all decked up to host the head of states.
A Rudraksh that you can definitely see is part of the mala, considered to be very auspicious for prosperity and health.
So this is a fusion of Indian tradition and culture.
Absolutely,
Indian hospitality.
Absolutely. You'll see everywhere in the hotel, the G20 and One Earth, One Family, One Future. This is the motto, and this is the vision that I think the country is with at the moment, and we want to continue with this. And I think we are very privileged as a group that after doing G20 meetings in most of our hotels across the country, we are able to host two good friends of our nation.
From comfort to food, Delhi's luxury hotels are leaving no stone unturned to give the leaders the best experience. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, a famous local dish of each state will be served to the guests.
Mushtaq ji, if you could elaborate this amazing experience that you've set us, and how the people who will be here at Taj, how you guys will be hosting them, if you can explain.
Like, we have got a spread of food which includes Indian, Western, and we have promoting millets also over here. The delegates which will be coming, we are catering to international guests also. So we have incorporated the food, like we have multiple dishes over here. So we are showcasing our Indian food also, we are showcasing the international food also.
A mix of Indian and Western cuisine is finalized. Many of the dishes millet-based, in line with Narendra Modi government's big push for millet. Taj Hotel's head chef Arun Sundarraj, who served several heads of states in the past, says all arrangements are in the place.
We've got dishes which are millet-based, so that we can actually showcase कि मिलेट में what all things you can do with millet, हमें मिलेट के साथ क्या क्या कर सकता है. I would say तैयारी is very very strong. काफ़ी काम किया है हम लोग ने और काफ़ी टाइम से प्लानिंग कर रहे हैं इसके बारे में कि हम किस तरह के dishes serve करेंगे, what exactly we are going to serve.
The Le Meridia too has a well-planned welcome prepared.
G20 की तैयारी आज नहीं शुरू हो रही, 1 साल से तैयारियां शुरू हो चुकी हैं G20 के लिए. तो बहुत खास मेहमान हैं और हम चाहते हैं जैसे हमारे प्रधानमंत्री बाहर जाते हैं उनका इतना अच्छा स्वागत होता है. वी फील सो प्राउड अबाउट इट. तो हम चाहते हैं कि जितने हमारे गेस्ट आए उनको भी बहुत अच्छा वेलकम दिया जाए, इतना मेमोरेबल एक्सपीरियंस दिया जाए. एंड इंडिया इज नोन अतिथि देव भव, जो हम हर अपने एम्प्लॉय को भी सिखाते हैं हर टाइम.
Vishweta Singh, Anamika Gaur, Ashutosh Mishra and Shreya Chatterjee from Delhi. Bureau Report, India Today.
So I know that there's a lot of concern that we're going to see a lockdown, a shutdown in Delhi over the G20 weekend. Now, officials have confirmed several times it's not true, but there are some restrictions that you have to keep in mind. Shreya Chatterjee has been tracking that very closely, getting us constant alerts on advisories put out by the Delhi police. So, Shreya, why don't you break it down for our viewers? For Delhiites who are watching this broadcast, for anyone who's travelling to Delhi over the weekend, which are the areas they simply cannot go to?
Well, Akshita, this is not really a lockdown. That's something that we need to understand. However, the Delhi police has been requesting that if you have to make emergency travels, use the metro as much as you can. The reason for that is that only if you're a bona fide resident of NDMC region, you will be allowed to travel in that region, and if you have a valid card to prove it. If not, it's better to just avoid the New Delhi zone and probably travel through metros because of the movement of all these important people who will be there in the region. There can be route movement changes any given time. So it is better to avoid. In cases of emergency, you can obviously use it. But if you're not a bona fide resident of the New Delhi area or a resident of Delhi, you will not ideally be allowed to travel even if you have a private vehicle.
So there'll be checks, right? And you'll have to prove that, you're going there for a reason.
Yes. Absolutely. Like, for example, if there is a medical emergency, obviously that will not be stopped. That will obviously be allowed. But if it's not a reason which is viable or falls in that essential or emergency category, and if you're not a resident where you need to go to your house, there will not be any allowance given to you. So it is better to travel the metro, use the metro as much as you can because that's been kept open majorly.
Is the metro functional completely though?
Yes, the metro is completely functional except for the Pragati Maidan, the Supreme Court station, obviously because that's a sensitive zone. They have also identified 39 sensitive metro stations, say from the Palam stretch to some in the central zones. Given the movement of the convoys, there might be some 10 to 15 minutes entry-exit halts, but largely all of these stations will stay open.
And what about public transport besides the metro? Are you going to see buses, autos, cabs, all of that plying?
Mostly if it's, for example, what we always want to talk about is the app-based taxi service. You have your valid IP card, like if you're a journalist or if you're probably in the essential service category, if you have to rush for your hospitals or something, you have your iCard, you can travel in the app-based taxi service. But another thing, if we are using our own cars, we need to understand that on-road parking that we can usually do at different times will not be allowed this time. Because that zone will be secured. Parking will be a little issue, so you have to keep in mind these minute changes, but essential services will not be affected.
Okay, that was very helpful. Thanks very much, Shreya, for breaking that down for us. So you heard it from Shreya, who's been tracking everything that's coming from the Delhi police, that there will be some inconveniences. There's no doubt about that. There are some restrictions, but there's no question of it being a lockdown. So let's tell you what will be closed in Delhi for the G20 weekend. Government and private offices will be shut. Anyone who's working has already given a directive to their employees to be on work from home. Schools and colleges also have been shut as per a directive from the government. Now, the Supreme Court will also be shut. It's a weekend, so that really is not going to affect anyone because the courts are anyway shut over the weekend. Banks will be closed. They're not going to be working this Saturday. Now, shops and malls will be shut, but only in some areas, particularly in central Delhi, in parts where the world leaders will be staying, and of course, Pragati Maidan, what's referred to as the NDMC, New Delhi Municipal Corporation limits. Connaught Place, Khan Market, you've got Janpat, Palika Bazaar, all of these prominent parts, recognizable names of New Delhi, all these areas will be shut over the weekend. Retail liquor stores, but again in the central Delhi area, will be closed. Besides that, three-seater autos and taxis will not be allowed to ply in the heart of the capital. Let's tell you what's open at this point. Delhi Metro will be functioning. There will be some stations where there will be no stops, but otherwise Delhi Metro will be functioning up and about. Buses on Ring Road will be plying. There's a lot of concern about whether Ring Road in Delhi will be closed off. That's not the case. Essential services will be available, and what I mean by that is groceries, the next point of medical services, all of that will be available no matter where you are in Delhi. Malls and markets outside of the New Delhi Municipal Corporation limits, if you live in any other part of Delhi, you're going to have full access to it. The theme of our G20, the motto, is, as you see written here, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And it's very fitting, really, because we're celebrating India's culture, celebrating India's traditions. The government has put a firm focus on all of that, as you'll see in posters and banners all around you if you've been to the national capital at this time. So let's take a look at how culture and tradition is currently being highlighted.
Delhi is shining. From roads to intersections, from trees and plants to lighthouses. As India hosts leaders of G20 nations, who together account for 80% of the global GDP, we are showcasing our country's rich culture. From exhibitions to decorative sculptures. India's heritage is on display. The G20 Summit motto, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, also echoes India's ancient philosophy. One earth, one family, one future. Every guest attending the G20 meeting in Delhi will get a glimpse of India's tradition at every step. Whether it's the murals of Ramayana and Mahabharata on the walls, or images of sages and saints, whether it's the reflection of folk art or customs. Even hotels are extending a traditional welcome to the G20 guests, with kumkum, tilak, aarti and honors.
कि डेलीगेशंस के लिए सारी तैयारी यहाँ पर हो गई, जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं कुछ इसी अंदाज में जब यहाँ पर वो डेलीगेशंस के लोग आएंगे तो स्वागत होगा। आपने देखा यहाँ पर जो इंडियन कल्चर रहता है, किसी को शॉल पहनाकर या टीका लगाकर और दिया लेकर उनका वेलकम करते, कुछ इसी अंदाज में हर्ष हमारे साथ हैं। हर्ष, कुछ इसी अंदाज में करने वाले हैं हम वेलकम।
बिल्कुल वेलकम। हम जो हमारी एक ट्रेडिशन है, आप सबने सुना होगा, अतिथि देवो भव। हमारे जो गेस्ट हैं दे आर नथिंग लेस देन गॉड, और ताज की वैल्यूज़ रही हैं, ताजनेस इसी में बिलीव करता है दैट हम अपने गेस्ट को एक भगवान की तरीके से उनकी मेहमान नवाजी करें और उनका स्वागत करें। उसी स्वागत के लिए हमने ये चीज़ें जो भी आपने एक्सपीरियंस करी हैं, हम उनका स्वागत एक बिल्कुल राजा के जैसे करने वाले हैं। विद बहुत सारे नगाड़े रहेंगे बाहर, म्यूजिशियंस हैं, लोकल आर्टिस्ट हैं, और फिर उसके साथ हम उनकी आरती करेंगे विद दिस पीकॉक थाली। एंड पीकॉक
राइट, पीकॉक थाली, ये तो मतलब इसको भी देखने लायक है। तो ये कुछ स्पेशल है G20 के लिए?
यस, ये स्पेशली हमने कस्टमाइज करवाई है बिकॉज पीकॉक बीइंग आवर नेशनल बर्ड, ऑल्सो पीकॉक अगर आप देखेंगे हमारी पूरी लॉबी में और डेकोर में देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ पीकॉक बीइंग यूज्ड इन द डेकोर, पेंटिंग्स, मोटिव्स। इसी से इंस्पिरेशन लेके हमने ये कस्टमाइज करवाई है।
Guests while checking in will be gifted Vijayanti Mala and Rudraksh Mala, symbolizing prosperity and peace.
ये इस माले को आप पहनाने वाले तुलसी माला, राइट? तो यानी हर कुछ वो आपने इसमें शामिल किया है जिससे इंडियन कल्चर शो हो, चाहे वो नगाड़े हो या ये आपने जिसका जिक्र किया ये शॉल हो, पिकॉक वाली थाली हो, ये सब G20 के लिए स्पेशल है.
100%. This is specially designed for G20.
Whether hotels or event venues, at every step in India, from their accommodation and food to sightseeing, guests will get a feel of Indian traditions. With Arpita Arya and Ashutosh Mishra, Bureau Report, India Today.
Bharat's culture on display. We just showed you a glimpse of that. But look at these murals behind me. This is an example of that. And you'll see many of these right now in the national capital on the way to Pragati Maidan. This particular wall is showing you the Ramayana. One particular part where you've got Lord Ram, you've got Lord Hanuman, all of them present, and also a very, very nice depiction there, a painting of Lord Ram and Ravan. Now let's also get you this conversation that my colleague Anjana Omkaship had with the Culture Minister Meenakshi Lekhi on the thought behind showcasing India's culture.
Delhi is all set to host G20 and we're just in front of Bharat Mandapam, which is going to see a lot of action with the top leaders of the world coming here in the coming days. And we have with us MOS External Affairs, Meenakshi Lekhi. How are you prepared? And it's always said that in the last few days coming up to the G20 celebrations and the meetings, there'll be a lot of activities happening. How are you geared up? How is the Government of India? How is the Ministry of External Affairs dealing with it? How are you prepared and how are you looking forward to it?
You know, it's like 100 meters in a marathon. So last 100 meters matters. So you're both excited and anxious. So that is the situation that we are all geared up. We work very hard. Everyone's put their best foot forward. But the last mile delivery matters, and we are all geared up for that.
What is the message from the Prime Minister of this country? Because Narendra Modi is actually overlooking, is what we are being told, looking over everything.
Minutely, every single thing, from decorations to gifts to food to every presentation has gone to him.
Decorations and food.
Yeah.
And the gifts.
And the gifts. I mean, that's the kind of person you're dealing with. And anyone can get a call in the middle of the night that no, this needs to change and take it back, redo it.
So we've heard there's a lot of focus on millets and a lot of things.
Yes. So short example, a small example. So when we were planning the spouses program, in that program, it was, people, as we all end up being, would talk about fashion, would talk about all that they feel women are interested in. But no, it has to be a substantial engagement. So in substantial engagement, the first half, we are taking them to Indian Agricultural Research Institute, where we are going to showcase the antique grains of India, which is millets, and how it is leading to sustainability and good health, how it is linked to the earth's health, how it is linked to water conservation, and the top-of-the-line labs, which have made India, IARI has made us all Atmanirbhar when it comes to food security. Yeah. And we are not only producing food for ourselves, which is 1.4 billion Indians, but are able to give it to other countries like Afghanistan and several of our neighbors and friends. So that's the strength of India. So first engagement is that. And second engagement, we have an exhibition which is called Roots to Roots, ROOTS to ROUTES. That is the foundational message of our civilization to roots, which we have taken to spread the message all across through 5,000 plus years of
showcasing India in a big way in front of all of them. In view of China not coming, experts around the world are saying that it's because of India's growing stature in the world that China or Xi Jinping has chosen to stay back and is sending Li Qiang. How do you look at it?
So I would say people are looking at China from a very short-term perspective. I mean, they are looking at maybe 70 years or 50 years or that time period. But historically, India has had very many exchanges with China, including Sanskrit was taught and learnt. Martial arts went from here. A whole lot of them were from Sanatan Parampara. Khotan was habited during Ashoka period by Indians. So a long-term perspective always matters to people like us. Short-term perspective is probably not giving the complete picture.
So Delhi looks absolutely beautiful right now, already all decked up for the G20 Summit. The countdown is on, and here on India Today, we're going to continue getting you every single update and ground reports of how the national capital is bracing for the big G20 Summit. Thanks very much for tuning in. News and updates continue on the other side. This is me, Akshita Nandagopal, signing off with video journalist Abhishek Kumar.